Hello, this is Dr. Christy Patton Lukes, a chemical engineering professor at Missouri S&T. And in this video for process design course, we are going to actually be looking at product design. So this is chapter 4 from the Turton textbook. And so what we're going to talk about is sort of what's the difference between process design and product design. What's the difference between a commodity chemical or a specialty chemical, and then some strategies for chemical process design or product design. Man, that's wrong. So, chemical products are, anything. Maybe you need to make a tank of oxygen for a hospital, or hydrogen that you are going to use for maybe a fuel cell, or you want to make aspirin or gasoline, or any number of chemicals, right? We're all familiar with chemicals. But we also have chemical products. And maybe you're not as comfortable with that concept, but chemical engineers do products also. So a fuel cell is a chemical product. An air purifier would be, or a catalytic converter on your car, or the ChemiCar is a chemical product. Now, most of the business that we end up doing are going to be producing chemical products, and they are going to typically be commodity chemicals. Now, these are the ones that are going to be made in large batches. No matter who's making it, what manufacturer, you're going to get a very similar quality of product. And there are a lot of customers for these. So this is kind of the bread and butter of the chemical industry. But a lot of our engineering time, a larger portion, will be on specialty chemicals that are going to be made in smaller quantities, often done in batch processes instead of continuous processes. Frequently, these are new chemicals, and so they have a small customer base, perhaps a growing customer base, but we are trying to build on that. And so those would be chemical products. When we want to talk about product design, though, as opposed to process design, this is going to be really a big growth area. Now, what we want to do is we need to figure out, first of all, what are the needs for this product that we are envisioning. We need to generate ideas, we need a selection process, and then we'll move to the manufacturing process. So the needs, we need to do that to identify what the customer needs. Not what we think they need, but what do they really need. So this may be industry needs, it may be public needs. So an air purifier is something that someone might want in their home, okay? And so we want to figure out what it is that people actually want. And so frequently we're doing things like interviewing the target, okay? And then once we've identified sort of the core need, we want to figure out what the target specifications are. So say it is that air purifier, what size would people be willing to put in their house? How much money would they be willing to spend for it? Various kinds of, what molecules are they wanting to remove from the air using this process or product. And so once we've done that, then we can very clearly define the problem. All right? So this all needs to happen before you really do anything further. The next step is to generate ideas. And so you can kind of look and see what is out there and being done and get some good ideas first and generate some product concepts. It is very useful to do a brainstorming session to get possible solutions at this point. And brainstorming, that's a bigger topic, but brainstorming, you want people to just think wildly, okay, and not be constrained by the practical. And so you start by just getting a lot of ideas. Now, once you have these ideas, and some of them may be really insane, you next need to move to a selection process. And so you want to screen the ideas qualitatively or quantitatively. Now, you may first look at all the ideas and some of them throw out, But perhaps some of those crazy ideas weren't practical, but they made someone during the brainstorming session think of another idea. So it was still useful. Okay? So once you do this, now then look at the ideas that you have and which ones do you think are worth pursuing further. Now come up with what criteria you're going to use to evaluate these. All right, so list all those criteria and list all the alternatives that you come up with in a grid. Now you can go through and score these. The example I've shown here is using a plus-minus system where 0 is neutral on that criterion. You can do a ranking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can do just a score like a Likert, like 5 is excellent and 1 is terrible, but all of them could be 5 or all could be 1. Okay, ranking means that you have one of each. You can choose any method of filling in the grid that you think is appropriate. And you can weight these. So maybe criterion 1 is price, and that's the one that's really important. So you're going to say 50% of the weight goes on that one. And then these others just get kind of thrown in. That's fine. You need to make a decision on what you think is important. You're going to go through and do the evaluation, sum the scores, rank the alternatives, and the top 1 or 2, then you will pursue further. So this is one showing one with a scoring system with weightings. And notice they all come up with a score, and then you evaluate these. So item or alternative 1 was the winner in this case. Alternative 7 was second. I would probably pursue item 1, but then keep item 7 in the back of my mind, or even maybe have split to 2 teams to pursue the 2 to see which one in reality, because those 2 scores are fairly close. So the final step is you now are going to take your best idea and create a preliminary design. Now you are going to need to research related regulations. That's going to be very important because if it's a very new idea, you are breaking some new ground, you probably are not in firm footing. You want to make sure that you're not going to get in trouble. Okay, you're not going to run suddenly find yourself being fined. And you want to think through the safety, but you want to evaluate profitability and then finalize the design and begin production. So we're going to stop the video at this stage, and in our next video lesson, we're going to work through an example. Thank you very much for your time.